SpaceX wants to put 1,000,000 satellites in low Earth orbit to drive data centers and AI. 1,000,000. To put this into perspective, that is over 50 times more satellites than we have ever launched, ever. Combined. Over 50 times more than that in just one constellation. Now, I know SpaceX likes to dream big, but man, can they pull this one off? Project Tomorrow, Orbit 18, Episode 9, is now boarding.
Good morning. How's everything up in the sky?
All right, I know that there are so many people who hate the idea of data centers in space, mostly because it's like to feed AI, and so many people are just upset with AI in general. However, as space nerds, this might be something that's really, really cool for us because we're going to have a boatload of launches happening. There's going to be a whole bunch of infrastructure that needs to get born out of this. So I guess my question to all of you, all of our panelists today is like, what do you think of this? Is this potentially the beginning of something great in the space economy? Mike?
Yeah, this is crazy. First of all, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is some definitely crazy news, and we've been seeing some of the things leading up to this, but I hate the idea of AI data centers as well. But I would much prefer them in space instead of in my own backyard and eating up water resources and all that sort of thing. So, I hate to say it, but in that capacity, I am a NIMBY, not in my backyard. But if we're going to do this, and if companies like SpaceX are going to focus on their own products, and companies like Blue Origin and even Relativity thinking about doing similar projects with their own mega constellations, then there is a beautiful opportunity for other launch companies around the world to kind of pick up the slack for everything else. There's all the military satellites. There's all the companies that are building constellations and satellites that don't have their own launcher program. And there is a ton of, it's the same launch industry as has existed over the past couple of decades. And if the major providers are going to focus on their own products, then all of those launches will still need to be fulfilled. And there's a really big opportunity, not just for SpaceX and Blue Origin, but for everyone who's looking into launch services right now.
I mean, this could be pretty cool. We're talking about, man, I can't even fathom how many launches this would take. And keep, like, you're Mike, you're not wrong, right? So SpaceX is talking about 1,000,000 satellites in orbit. 1,000,000. Like, if you think crazy. Starlink constellation is huge, what are they up to? Someone said we're past 10,000 now, something like that?
Yeah, we're somewhere past 10,000 now.
Yeah, so like, gotta add a few zeros.
The way I would like to see this done is precisely how they're not going to do it. And
okay.
I think there's a couple of things about that are good, but what I would like to see is not 1,000,000 separate satellites, but 10,000. Let's say 10,000, okay? But bigger and larger satellites. I can understand the need for the data and the throughput, but just the sheer volume is going to destroy the night sky. It's going to make entry and exit from and to Earth in the spirit of exploration incredibly difficult. Any kind of human presence in any of the orbits, if anything goes wrong, is going to be put at risk. So what's going to happen to ISS if a satellite's orbit decays or something along those lines? And I can see why having a larger number of smaller satellites would be kind of a decentralized target, as it were. We're making a lot of enemies recently, and if we had one big satellite, for example, that would be an easy way to like mess with our stuff. and I'm completely ignoring the ethics of AI as it currently stands.
I mean, I think the AI part is why a lot of people are so. I don't know. I'm old, and so I remember similar vibes. Similar vibes when the internet was coming around, and everyone was worried about their jobs with the internet. It's certainly different than AI, but like every time you've got a new groundbreaking technology, people get worried. And so my thought process is we'll probably go through something very similar to what we did with the internet, where we had this huge balloon. Everyone was investing crazy amounts of money in the internet back in the late 90s, early aughts sort of thing. And then it all just came crashing down. And like the whole economy got screwed up, and it was pretty awful for a minute. But the internet didn't go away, and it became a very useful tool that every single one of us uses in our everyday life. And I think once we get rid of the weird kind of stuff around AI, the dreamy, weird future things that don't make any sense, and we go through the bubble burst, and we end on the other side of that with the technology stack that actually makes sense, as opposed to replacing humans, basically lifting them up and then helping them on tasks that we don't want to automate. That we want to automate, that we don't want to have to do by hand, and helping us do things throughout the day. I think there actually is a potential huge upside, but we got to get through that same cycle. I think we got to get through that same cycle that we did before, and then we just, this seems to be a required part of advancing, is like this whole you dream, it bursts, and then it turns into the real thing. Having said that, go ahead.
Thus far, though, AI's benefit to humanity is like 0.1% of its current consumption.
fair. And Mike mentioned not in my backyard, but I think it's not in my backyard to be like not on my planet, a nomp instead of an indie.
Not on my planet.
Not on my planet, right? But I mean,
well, I think the big advantage of this is not using resources to manage and maintain temperatures that are precious and rare, and in places where the pollution causes cancer and kills people. And I think that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
However, how are you going to replace drives?
Well,
how are you going to change network settings?
Well, we do this today in data centers. That's no different, right? Like, excuse me.
Yeah, a truckload shows up of hard drives, and a dude's job for the entire day is to pull one drive out and replace it with another.
No, the modern data centers, it's abandoned in place. It actually costs more. It really is. It really is.
That's true.
It really is. In modern data centers, it costs
wasteful.
more to go fix it than it does just to let it be dead in place and to route around it. And that's kind of the magic of like Google's ecosystem or Microsoft's ecosystem or anything else, is like goes, oh, hey, this node has failed, but it's replicated in 20 other locations. So just take this node out of the pool and just keep going. Keep going. And then once enough of the system has failed, then they'll go in and fix it. But you got to fail a good chunk of it. And I think in this mode, it would be like, okay, we've lost a bunch of storage or whatever on the satellite. So let's deorbit the satellite and put a new one in its place.
So if they have a function for safely and controllably deorbiting satellites, I might be convinced that this is okay.
No, Grumpy Grandpa can't think that it's okay. Come on now.
Look, I'm taking out of it that I don't like what is being done with AI. 99.9% of AI at the present time. I can see value for it in the future. I don't think there's the scare politics of AI is going to come for your job. I don't think is going to come to fruition. There may be some jobs affected, but like you said, the same thing with the internet. It's the internet's going to take your job. No, the internet doesn't know what to do to do your job. And
ask it,
and not
see how wrong it is.
Yeah, it can't figure out it's a hole from a hole in the ground. but like there are benefits, and yeah, there may be some pain and more for some aspects of humanity than others, but I would rather have them being developing this technology and putting it in space than just swooping in with a bunch of money into neighborhoods that can't afford the lawyers to fight it off to make 130 decibels 100 yards from somebody's house 24/7 and pollute the groundwater for everybody, for a million people. Because that area doesn't have lawyers to fight them off.
So there's a great comment from String Simpleton, which is going to allow me to migrate to an area I really wanted to migrate to, which is, I think we're putting the cart in front of the horse here. While the concept is exciting, we first need to be able to build the infrastructure. Well, I thought the same thing. So what's interesting is this million constellation announcement is not new. This was actually brought up in the press release when SpaceX purchased, or SpaceX and XAI merged. I don't know how all that goes together, which was like over a month ago, I believe. So this wasn't new, but I didn't really feel like it was newsworthy because, like, okay, cool, we want to put 1 million satellites in space. Neat. You don't have the resources to do that. You cannot build, there are not enough chips on the planet for you to do this, right? Like, this isn't real. And so I didn't think it was real. Foolish me. Elon just did a what's it called? Terafab. He just did that announcement, and he's like, yeah, there aren't enough chips, so we're going to make the chips. And I went, Ryan, you watched it. Would you be able to summarize quickly all of the different... Is it possible
I mean, very quickly. Yes, it is possible to summarize that talk very quickly, because the talk was literally the pure definition of this meeting could have been an email, because it was about a 40-minute long live stream. Half of that was the intro animation, so there's only about 15 minutes worth of actual talking, and then there are about 3 sentences of useful information within that 15 minutes of talking, and those 3 sentences were on the size of these satellites. The mini AI satellites are going to be like 150 meters wide when you unfurl the solar panels, bigger than Starship. Like the full stack Starship is going to be bigger than that. 1 million of those orbiting Earth. The astronomers are going to love it.
Jared already loves this.
Also...
hey, don't make fun of Elon's social awkwardness.
Why not? 15 years that he still hasn't consulted a speech therapist. Come on, man.
I never, in the 14 years I was at SpaceX, during those 14 years, I ran every single one of those events, and I never once got a rehearsal with him. Not a single time. I never got him on stage, and I tried. I tried every show.
Are you accusing him of not putting in the work?
Oh, no, he puts in the work. Well, he just doesn't put in the work for the show. Keep going, Ryan. I'm sorry.
Rehearsal. What an irrelevant waste of time.
The second sentence was on the types of chips which Terafab is going to be building. There are going to be 2 types of chips. One set of chips for Tesla products and one set of chips for SpaceX products. So these chips are going to go into Tesla cars, Tesla robots, the Optimus robot, and of course these SpaceX AI satellites. Also alongside this, there was a PowerPoint slide which said they were going to build I think it was a billion Optimus robot army, which is an 1/8 of the human population. Not sure how I feel about that one, but slightly out of scope for AI satellites in space. And then the third sentence wasn't really a sentence; it was more some words underneath a new animation of the big railgun they're going to build on the moon to deploy these AI satellites.
Wait, hang on, Ryan. Somehow I missed the railgun. What are they doing?
It was at the very end. Very end. The most exciting part, like for me anyway, is that he wants to build a mass driver, and he kind of closed the whole thing with, "Before I die, I want to see a mass driver on the moon." And at
Yeah.
least that's something to be excited about. I'm finally glad that he's on track. Okay, we got to do the moon stuff first, and then we can do all the cool Mars stuff.
Well, wait a minute. Like, that is exciting. When we opened, the question I asked is this the beginning of a new in-space economy? And if we're going to have a mass driver on the moon, does that mean we need humans on the moon there too? Or is he just going to throw Optimus at the problem? Because if he's throwing Optimus at the problem, I kind of care a lot less, right? Like, I'm interested in humans getting to the moon. But Dutta's point is correct. Okay, I've got 1 million starships flying around the planet in real time now. Space is big. Space is really, really big. But, like, is that going to make it really difficult for us to navigate and get humans out of our local gravity well?
Somebody's going to need to start bringing materials in from elsewhere, because if, like, all of the materials required to do this stuff, unless they've figured out, chip recycling, even just the experimentation at SpaceX's normal experimentation rate is going to deplete the world of resources.
But it doesn't have to deplete the world.
Before they can figure it out. Well, we don't have the technology yet to bring materials in from elsewhere.
But again,
that needs to happen.
But this could be a non situation, not on my planet, right? So yeah, I'm coining that phrase.
Sure.
But I mean, maybe when you're dreaming this big, maybe
that wasn't part of the presentation.
I mean, look. Sometimes you just have to throw out a big dream and then figure out the details later. But you're right. There's going to be a resource problem. So, Ryan, what are you sharing?
This is what the mass driver looks like.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, this is a screenshot from the animation. I think it might have to be a little bit bigger in reality. I haven't done the calculations myself, but I've seen some tweets which are saying this has to be like 50 to 60 kilometers long. Anyways, continue.
But this could open up a world of, if we want to do this, if SpaceX wants to do this, and XA and all of the companies want to make this a reality, like I mentioned at the top of the show, chips were going to be a problem. They're like, okay, well, we see this as a problem. We're going to figure that out. But then also, Dutta's point is correct. Resources are a problem. So then we just start doing off-planet resource utilization, and we start pulling. We go to the Kuiper Belt. We go to wherever we need to go, which means we have to build a space economy, right? And then when I say a space economy, I don't mean an economy of people spending money on Earth for space. I mean an economy of people spending money in space. People on the moon spending money on and in lunar habitats. People in spaceships going to asteroids to go mine for materials. This could be the thing that space nerds, as much as we want to hate on AI, this could be the thing. Everyone's quiet. All right.
I want to stop. I want to stop by Moonbucks on the way home for a cappuccino.
I mean, Starbucks still applies, right? It's just what star are you going to be around? It's not just SpaceX either. Right now, orbital data centers are so hot right now. Blue Origin wants to launch a constellation of over 51,000 satellites, which again is 5 times larger than the current Starlink constellation. Someone was talking and said that they got slapped in the beginning of the show, but okay, they want to do over 50,000 satellites. Can they accomplish that? And that's going to be for data centers in space. And they're going to have the same problems. Even at 50,000 satellites, they're going to have the same problems. There is another launch company, not a launch company. There's another data center company, StarCloud. StarCloud wants to send over 60,000 satellites up into space for data centers and AI as well. So, there's just, and they actually even have, so StarCloud looks awfully like Starship, right? I think they're maybe launching on Starship and then, or is that the chomper from Neutron? Or is that the Starship chomper? I don't know, but
that's the Starship chomper.
Yeah.
That's the Starship chomper. They plan to hire starships to launch this. And correct me, the StarCloud's the NVIDIA and OpenAI one, right?
I think so. There are so many different. There's StarCloud, and then by the way, Google has Project Suncatcher for the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we've got Project Suncatcher from Google. We've got StarCloud. We've got Blue Origin's Project Sunrise. So stars and suns everywhere.
I gotta say, I do actually really love the theme of Dyson swarms that is going on with this. When you think about it, That's kind of cool. I do like that at the very least, even though, yeah, all of this is a bit scary and overwhelming if it's used for the wrong purposes. Like, I'm really hoping that we can take Elon at his word and that he has good intentions and hopes for humanity and wants humanity to be included. Because if not, then all of this, I mean, they're going to have a real hard time beating the Skynet allegations with all of this stuff that they're trying to deploy.
I mean,
That being said, if we can take them at their word, and with this whole Terafab to just build the chips for all these different products, I mean, all the AI people and everyone who has been obsessing about the chips for the past couple of years, it was going to be really excited about this and is going to hope that they will manufacture enough that they can buy some too for whatever their purposes are. And it's not all just going to be for the SpaceX AI data centers. And I really hope that they will take at least a couple of cues from where I live in the state of Arizona, where we actually have a really awesome program with Intel and the Taiwanese company HSBC. I always forget what the acronym TSM. I forget. Anyway, I think you know which one I'm talking about. We have a program here where they have to develop their own water recycling system so that none of their wastewater goes back into the supply. We're living in a desert, so we have low water resources to begin with, and there's just a cool bunch of stuff that on the surface at first looks like, regulations and more red tape that you have to go through, but the end result of it is not drawing on the resources from the local community and actually having an even better, safer, and cleaner system for those companies to be able to make chips from. I mean, just the slurry that they use to clean the chips during the process of manufacturing needs to be like in such a high tolerance, or rather a low tolerance, for it to be useful. And all these different procedures that we have enacted here in this desert has made that process simpler for them and has enabled them to go faster. At least in the case of Intel, the Taiwanese company is still in the process of setting it up, but I'm hoping that they will use those same sort of things, because Terafab, of course, is going to start off here on Earth. But eventually, it seems like the plan is to move all of that manufacturing to the moon or somewhere else. And those same lessons can be applied there and, just keep exponentially getting better. And go ahead. Sorry.
But you have to regulate to get them to do that. And the problem is,
wait, I'm sorry. You have to regulate what?
You have to create laws in order to be able to get them to incur that cost and overcome that as a hurdle. And the problem is, not all places have those regulations.
Wait, well, I guess I don't understand why you have to create regulation. Why do you need to do that?
Because they're not going to do this unless they have to. Here's one thing about billionaires that you can always trust. Not that they're doing what's good for humanity, they're doing what's good for them. There isn't a single billionaire that is doing anything for the good of humanity. There are billionaires that are doing for the good of them. So unless you have regulations in place that require them to address the issues of humanity in the spaces that they occupy, they're not going to do it.
I'm not sure I agree with that assessment. I'm not sure you're entirely wrong.
Show me an example otherwise.
Sure. I mean, Elon formed these companies out of his own money and
Elon's data centers dumping toxic metals into the middle of Texas creeks in the middle of Texas isn't
sure. And so now he's looking at ways to take that off. Yeah, he's looking for ways to take that off planet.
Okay, but if they were serious about helping humanity, they wouldn't have done that.
Well, there's a chicken egg scenario there. You can't just say, "Oh, hey."
No, there isn't.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
You can capture all the water that is used from data centers and filter it and clean it up before it's dumped, so that it doesn't have the toxic chemicals in it before it's dumped.
I think that is a gross
we do in Arizona.
oversimplification of, yeah, I mean, I think it's a gross oversimplification of like all billionaires bad. And I actually think,
No.
that was your point. All billionaires bad and you have to regulate them. That was if I were to boil down your point, that was your point. And I don't think that is a fair point. I don't think regulation necessarily helps us. I think it actually hurts us in many regards. And then what they do is, instead of actually trying to do the right thing, they just try to find ways around the regulation, and that's when we run into problems. I think I fundamentally disagree with the idea that everything has to be regulated. We do need to be careful. I'm not saying that all billionaires are great people and that like they're not going to try to take advantage of situations. That's certainly not the case. But like I think if we give people a fair chance to do the right thing, that should be the first step, not, oh, we have to regulate you. The moment we go into, oh, we have to regulate you, we fail. I think we failed immediately.
But how do you go up? How do you fight against somebody that's doing the wrong thing and they don't care because they've got money and they can pay lawyers to bury you?
Well, someone like Elon is very sensitive to like what people say about him, and like he doesn't like it when people on his team are saying bad things. And so so
he fires them.
No. I mean, we're going to get into the weeds on this one. We're going to disagree fundamentally on a fundamental level on this one. I don't think that regulation is something that overall helps us. Sometimes you need some regulation, but what ends up happening, in my opinion, is that you end up with regulation for regulation's sake, and then all you have to do is start working around the regulation. I can cite so many ridiculous things that we had to do in Starbase. Of like, it didn't make any sense. Of like, the clean water wasn't clean because I forgot. There was just, it was insane. It didn't make any sense. And that's what happens with regulation. And so there is a middle ground here where it's like, okay, we can't, you're not wrong. We can't be destroying the environment, just throwing a sludge of awfulness into the world. That is where something like this is helpful. But also just saying, oh, well, we have to regulate out of the gate, that's gonna create bigger issues, I think.
I'm just saying there need to be guidelines in order to be able to ensure that all the things that need to be thought of are thought of and addressed before going into something like this. For example, powering data centers with methane turbines. There's methane waste, and that's illegal, and they don't care. The water that you use to cool can't have have X number of contaminants in it. There needs to be a guideline, some box within which that they need to operate, and then they come up with helpful solutions like being able to filter the water so that they're not negatively impacting the surrounding environment. With helpful solutions like they're generating their own power so that the demands on the electrical grid don't exceed the capacity. Like that's the sort of thing the sort of legislation I'm referring to.
And that's the sort of thing that the reason why I brought this up is, you think billionaires are bad, billion-dollar companies are even worse. So even though we had to use laws and regulations to get that process started, once they did it, they realized, oh, wait a minute, this system is actually better. And it's funny that you brought up the power generation, because part of their water recycling system is actually running it through turbines to generate their own electricity. The Intel manufacturing plant here, it's one of their largest manufacturing plants on the planet. They generate all of their power through turbines, through hydroelectric power, through their water recycling system because of regulations that they put in place, saving them a huge amount of money every single year. So even though it did take laws and regulations to get that process started, the benefits that they saw from it far outweighed the cost of setting it up, which was more expensive to set up than just, extracting water from the aquifer and dumping it wherever. In the long run, even though it was more expensive to set up, they are saving so much money and not drawing from any of the local resources, not just the water, but also the electricity. So thank you for bringing that up. And I think that companies like SpaceX that are having further ambitions of doing operations on the moon and on Mars are going to be thinking of those type of ways of how can we not waste anything? How can we recycle everything? How can we make this process as efficient as possible and eventually get to the point that it can be automated?
SpaceX is the wrong company with which to have a conversation about waste.
I mean, you might be right about that. But
I disagree. I fundamentally disagree. Well, yeah, it's all right. We're just gonna go around in circles and circles on this one.
And I'm not advocating for, saying that you can't build a data center somewhere because there's a rare tortoise that migrates once every 50 years or some stupid shit like that.
That's what happens. Those are the regulations.
And I think that regulation is silly.
But that's what
there are regulations that are helpful.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree that there are regulations that are helpful, but I don't think you should come at it from me. We need to start with regulations. You start adding the regulation. You do light regulation on top of things where you're like, this needs some help. This needs to, like, we need to figure this out. All right, we're going to go around in circles.
And maybe that's my point is show them the benefits first so that we don't have to regulate them, so that they self-regulate and do it on their own because it is the most efficient, most money-saving, most, all of the things that they like to see for numbers to go up.
Yeah, 100%.
I've driven through Hinckley and there is nothing there. And it used to be a thriving town that operated a battery disassembly facility. And all of the wastewater was poisonous, and it caused cancer to half the population. Go watch Aaron Brockovich. Like, it sucks. And they had that community had no power and no advocacy and no agency to be able to control their own future. I
mean, that does suck.
That's what's happened. What's happening outside of data centers for Facebook, for Google, for Starlink.
Right. This is why we should get the data centers off the planet.
The
hunger for this stuff isn't going to go away. Well, yeah, but
I fundamentally agree. But saying that doesn't solve those problems.
But regulating it out of the gate makes it less attractive to actually try to figure out how to do stuff. And so now what we're doing is, instead of making this attractive to people or to companies, we're making it less attractive to them, and we're incentivizing them not to change their ways. We are doing the exact wrong thing depending upon how we go about it, right? So I'm not sitting here saying, oh no, we should absolutely poison communities. Absolutely not. We should take care of our planet, right? We got one of them. Like Mars is not a great planet. I don't want to move to Mars. The moon is not great. I don't want to move to the moon. We need to take care of our planet. I am not saying we shouldn't do that. But I'm saying that when we just knee-jerk and say, oh, what we need to do is regulate everything, this is a conversation for After Dark or something, because I can't actually say my real opinion on the air. Like, yeah. It's how you end up with supervillains.
So a quick meter. When I was younger, my mom let us pick cereal. And we were able to pick cereal that didn't have sugar in the first 3 ingredients. Okay?
Okay.
That got ingrained into my brain of the cereals, the foods that I should be eating should not have sugar in the first 3 ingredients. Likewise, if the first 3 ingredients to a company's business plan isn't what it's going to do to the surrounding community, maybe it's not the best thing.
One could, again, we'll have to punt this until After Dark, because we're going to go around and around in circles on this one. We're not going to agree on this point. We're just not going to agree on this point. So, on that note, any final...
You're a monster, Phil.
I'm a monster. That's exactly right. Any final comments on our ability to go into space? We've got Blue Origin doing this. We've got SpaceX doing this. We've got we have so many different companies doing this. We've got potentially, even if SpaceX doesn't do 1 million satellites in space, we've got so many companies doing 100,000 plus constellations, 50,000, like 50,000 seems to be the new minimum, right? So we're talking about hundreds of thousands of satellites in space. And even if we don't make it to 1 million, hundreds of thousands is still way more than what we've got today or have ever had. Final thoughts on like, oh my gosh, this is kind of crazy?
Well, I am just really glad to see the billionaire space races. You know, it's back, it's firing on all cylinders, and we've got some good old-fashioned Elon versus Jeff. You know, back in, a decade ago, back in 2016, this was Jeff Bezos welcoming Elon to the landing a rocket club, and nowadays we've got SpaceX filing an FCC proposal for 1 million satellites, and then Blue Origin fighting back, or Kuiper, whatever company it was, one of Jeff's companies doing a protest, and then Blue Origin did a 50,000 satellite proposal, and then we've got SpaceX protesting or sending a letter to the FCC saying, hey, if Jeff is going to protest us, then we're going to protest Jeff. And now we've got all of these different companies from all of these different people coming in trying to do thousands upon thousands upon thousands of satellites in space. I mean, some good old-fashioned rivalry is back, and that's exciting to see. I just hope that the satellites go in the way of Starlink and try and not be in the sky all of the time.
The satellites will be in the sky all of the time. For the record.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want them to be in the sky all the time. I just, if they can put in an effort to not be in the sky all the time, more launches, more better.
I mean, this is going to ruin astronomy. Like, we already had this debate with Starlink, and there have been some kind of workarounds, but like, I just don't see how you work around this. This is just too many satellites from too many different countries and too many different companies, right? At least
Starlight, Starbright for Starlight, Starbright for shit. Starlight, Starbright.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. Right. To the best of my knowledge, the only company who's actually like put real effort into making sure that they minimize the impact on astronomy is SpaceX, because they did actual work to like try to, not be a burden. But there's only so much you can do,
The one AST mobile satellite is an order of magnitude worse than all of the Starlink satellites combined. And they want to launch thousands of those, and that was just one, their test one.
Yeah. And then you got other you got countries that are going to do this and they're not going to care. So like this is the
you think China's going to care?
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
We got their 40,000 satellites coming in the next few years, too. You think they're going to care?
They're going to want to make it like bright at night so that when we look up, we can see their constellation overhead. So they're reminding us that they're there. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to do orbital formations that are going to be like drone shows. It's going to be awful.
That actually sounds awesome. I don't know. Like a satellite drone show?
There are U.S. senators that want to launch giant mirrors so that the places that are dark are light and at night.
True.
Never-ending daytime? Is that a real thing?
Never-ending daytime. Daytime's going to be a subscription service, Jamie. They're going to have the opposite. You either get daytime or you get permanent night, depending on if you paid that month or not.
Just
everything
as an aside,
is subscription purpose.
Those mirror satellites, I think, are a brilliant idea, simply because if someone annoys you, you can shine a spotlight on their house all night long, and it would be hilarious.
I'm shining one on Dada tonight. All right, let's go to our first trivia question. Ryan, you want to take it? Oh, wait, no. Before you take it away, I have to hit buttons. Hang on, I have to hit this button, and then that has to do its thing, and then I have to hit this button. Okay.
Beautiful.
Ryan. Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, so Progress MS-33 just launched, but it might have to be docked manually because one of the Kurz antennas hasn't deployed as of the time that I wrote this question. What is the name of the manual docking system where the crew on board the International Space Station actually fly with like a joystick and fly it in, like in Kerbal Space Program?
Ryan, I will say, if you had added a TARS option in here, I would have chosen that. Just because I would pick TARS. The closest one you have is TORS, and so I'm going to pick that one because it's the closest to TARS. Because I don't know the answer. I'm just being honest with everyone. I am guessing, and I have no idea if I'm right. But TORS is what I'm going to pick.
That's a good guess.
Yeah,
That's a good guess. Thank you for explaining your logic.
I just like to be
Is this
upfront
Jamie
with,
swaying the chat room? Because the chat room have now picked Tors.
Oh! I think
so. I think they have.
well, if well, hang on. I was telling the chat room why I picked it, and if they picked it because I'm like, it sounds like TARS, that's stupid. They should continue their trend of cheating and just go look up the real answer. I mean, the chat room would never cheat. The chat room would never cheat.
Okay, so Jamie is going with Tors.
Yep.
Jared isn't here this week, so I'm going to go to Data.
I'm going with it's totally operational redocking system.
That's great. I love that. Totally operational.
Mike?
I believe I know this one, and I actually think it's TORU, Toru. I forget what it stands for. It's like teleoperated rendezvous utilization or something like
Unit.
that. I don't know.
Unit.
Maybe, perhaps. I think it's Toru though.
Totally awesome remote unit. No. It's totally
Awesome is
optimized. Totally optimized remote unit.
Well, there have been two answers so far. We have Jamie, Data, and Chatroom going for B, Mike going for A. One of those is the correct answer, and the correct answer is A. So Mike gets a point, nobody else does.
Chat room, you shouldn't have listened to me. I was only
Finally
picking it 'cause
catching up.
it sounded like TARS. That's why I picked it.
Yeah, this one I feel like I kind of knew because they had this system way back on the Mir space station. They might have even been testing it on the old Salyut 7, and of course have it on the Russian segment of the International Space Station. So, yeah, I forget what it stands for, but I know I've heard that term before. So, yay! I finally got one right.
Congratulations, Mike. You win nothing. Absolutely nothing. There are no awards at this time. Or maybe we should have awards. Should we have a year-end? We'll figure that out.
There
after
are
dark.
dozens of Russians who are so proud that I just got that right. Dozens. How dare you, sir?
All right, let's move on. This was actually going to be the main topic for the show, and then we saw the whatever Elon did, and I was like, we should probably change it around. And then Dud and I got into a fight, so we made some good TV. But Terran R kind of slipped under the radar. That's relativity space. And in February, they issued an update to their rocket. And for those who don't know, Terran R, it's a beast of a vehicle. This thing is a heavy lifter. And it's like, this is actual footage. It's real. It is 284 feet tall. I don't know what that is in trader units. 17 point. I guess we're the trader. Whatever. I don't know what that is in false. No,
We're
it's
the
86. I have it in my
Empire
notes.
now.
It's 86.
We are the Empire now. Use our units.
Exactly. 284 feet tall, which is 86.6 meters. It is 17.7 feet in diameter. That is 5.4. That is over a 5-meter diameter rocket. This thing is huge. This thing is massive.
I still want to know how the fuck they're going to get it out of Long Beach.
Oh my God, you're right. How are they going to get it out of the Long Beach? Are they building it in Long Beach?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for over a year. No, 3 years.
What? So, someone has a
Continue, Jamie. Before we've already derailed. Good, continue. Please
all
continue.
right. I mean, I'll just give you
We'll figure that out. That's for them to figure out.
I'm really curious. That is not wrong. Its reusable payload is 23,500 kilograms as compared to Falcon 9's reusable payload, which is 17,500. And its expendable payload is, this is Leo again, 33,500 kilograms as compared to Falcon 9, which is 22,800. So in most regards, until we go to a geotransfer orbit, that's actually where it doesn't fare as well as Falcon, which is interesting. I have to assume that's MVAC's fault, or MVAC's bonus, but they can do 5,500 kilograms to GTO as compared to Falcon 9's 8,300 to GTO. But that's not an insignificant payload. This is considered a heavy lift launcher. Like, this is well into heavy lift category. This is not a medium lift rocket. This is a heavy lift rocket. And so now we'll have Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, Starship, New Glenn Space Launch System, and the Terran R. ULA has the Vulcan, and who am I missing? Just in the United States here. So what is that? 7 heavy lifters. So I guess my question is, do we need more heavy lifters? Like, what? How many? How many's too many?
Of course we do. We got one company alone trying to launch 1 million satellites. Are you crazy? We need all the heavy lifters.
I mean, you may not be wrong. If SpaceX is just going to dedicate all of their resources of Starship to launching their AI data center, does that open up the market for everyone else?
I mean, especially since the NVIDIA OpenAI has got their business case on launching with Starship. If there's no Starships available, then we need something else kind of close in capability, don't we?
I mean, that's a good point because the star, I forget what it's called, star cluster, star.
StarCloud.
Yes.
Star Cloud, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
All of those were correct.
So many star. Yeah, I know, right? So many star names. If you're potentially right, like there may be an advantage to them moving over to relativity, and I wonder how many other companies or like transporter missions, if SpaceX is going to be hyper focused on data centers, is relativity going to pick up that slack? Blue Origin, because Blue Origin could be focused on their data centers. Like, what does this look like in the marketplace?
I mean, I think it's a huge opportunity for Terran R and relativity. They're probably going to lean really heavily into the Google partnership and the Google project, however that ends up evolving. And if not, then they're going to look at picking up the slack for everyone else who wants to launch on these heavy lifters. But the heavy lifter operators are busy launching their own products. So, there's one way or another, there's an opportunity either to launch stuff for their close partners or to launch stuff for everybody else.
One of the things with
it, they will come.
Yeah,
not all,
for
no,
real. If you
there's
build it, they
literally
will come.
No, there is a grave. No, I wish that were true. I truly wish that was true. But there is a graveyard of space companies that thought that, just like a massive graveyard of companies. And if you build it, they may or may not come. Like I'm not sure that's true.
Well, I think both SpaceX and Blue Origin are a little bit different in that they have infinite money as runway.
Yeah, well, Relativity has a good, like Eric Schmidt is the CEO of Relativity now, and I don't know
Invested a lot of his own personal funds into this as well.
Yeah,
a lot.
And for those who don't know, he was one of the founders of Google, right? So like he's got cash money, yo. So like he has the ability. He has the ability to keep this thing going for a minute. But then, like we started talking earlier about these different constellations, and Amazon had one in there, didn't they? There was a data center for AWS up there. Maybe this becomes the launcher. Yeah, right? But even outside of that, okay, cool. So everyone's going to be launching AI data centers. I get it. But if we want to create a economy in space and actually like do humans in space, the thing with Relativity on their Terran, the Terran 1, that was a 3D printed rocket, right? Like the whole thing basically was 3D printed top to bottom. They flew it once. It wasn't fully successful. I forget, it was second stage. Anyone remember?
Second stage.
Yeah, they didn't get to orbit.
Yeah. They flew it once and they're like, that was cool.
They did not go to space today.
They got near space. They got space adjacent. So they flew it, and they're like, "Cool, that was a fun test. So like, we kind of proved out this would work. Let's not do that, and let's go back to more of a traditional building."
We proved in 50 ways why this doesn't work.
Well, I don't know that they proved that it didn't work. I think they decided like this doesn't make financial sense.
They had many issues with their 3D printed tanks.
So, but that brings me back to what they had. What their magic sauce was 3D printing stuff. And when we're talking about living and working in space, we're probably going to want to be able to 3D print our habitats, all of our things, like our ships. Like we're going to want to be able to 3D print replacement parts, everything necessary to fly in space. Is that not Relativity's secret sauce? Is 3D printing? Like, did they give up on this too early?
Their secret sauce, as I understand it, is printing capacity and the partnerships that they've made by designing and building bigger and more exotic 3D printers, as well as the algorithms that help them figure out how to print. So it's not necessarily the product, but it's the process.
But I mean, that's a big deal, is it not?
That is a big deal.
It kind of feels like they were just a little bit too early and probably decided this is too much work for our little rocket. Let's maybe revisit this in a couple of years. Let's get the big thing going because we've got a backlog of stuff that we want to do. Let's not forget, before Eric Schmidt got in there, they were mostly trying to sell this to the investors and got quite a few investors and several things that we're planning on launching with them. And as far as I know, they're still waiting for some sort of Terran R to come online. A handful of them not jumped ship, but were just like, cool, we can't wait for you because we need to get this on a certain timeline. We can't wait 10 more years. Like, we're just going to put our product in a warehouse to wait for you. So a handful did switch to other launch providers, but a majority of them are still waiting and saying, cool, take your time. Let's get the big rocket up and running first. So I feel like they just were a little bit too early, and that these ideas will get revisited as things progress.
I don't think they were too early. I think their pendulum swung too much into their gimmick. But at the same time, I think it's because they did that, they were able to basically put all their concentration on how to execute that, and now that is their secret sauce. Their idea was good. Their idea was good, but there are issues that they had to learn how to address, and they discovered that for the expense of a launch vehicle, there are cheaper ways to execute on some of the aspects of manufacturing and production when it comes to building a pressure vessel out of welding wire. That now that they've mostly figured that out, and going into Terran R, understanding that cylinders should be sheets of aluminum that they roll into a circle as opposed to wire that they spin and weave into a tank. That helps bring the cost down and helps them address going into the future. But the things that they can print now, the capacity, the capabilities that they have, wouldn't have been there had they done the standard thing that everybody else does. And that's something that they can now use for production in the future.
So someone by the name of, I'll see if I pronounce this correctly. I think it's Jared Hiad.
Gerard. You're Rod.
Who's this guy?
Edhead. I'm not sure how to pronounce that username. He said O'Neill notes that one secret sauce to a new golden age of spaceflight will be when in-space manufacturing is figured out. And I think that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, which is, do we actually need yet another heavy lifter? And I know everyone wants to put their AI data centers in space, and I'm sure they can find payload. But if they leaned into 3D printing and specifically figuring out how to 3D print in space, because that's really hard, right? That's really 3D print without gravity. Good luck. Would this not then enable a future that no one else seems to really be working on? Someone mentioned, let's see if I can find it.
You can't do DMLS in space.
Yep. Are they doing direct laser metal sintering? DLMS is direct laser metal sintering. It's basically 3D printing metal. Are they doing? I don't think they're doing.
How can you?
There've been. Oh no, never mind.
No, you wouldn't. No, because
there've been welding tests, but there hasn't been that yet.
Yeah, you'd have to have some sort of gravity because the dust would just. Wait, hang on. Just as an aside, I want to bring a DLMS printer up there. And I want to, because all of the dust will kind of float. The way it works is there's like a metal powder particulate, and you shoot it with a laser, and the layer that gets hit with the laser kind of bonds together.
You spread a layer over it, and then you shoot that layer with a laser, and then you lower the table and spread another layer over it.
And so it's this additive process. So what I would love to see is you put that metal dust in a container in space, and then you fire the laser like you would. Can you imagine the crazy shape that would come out of that thing? I mean, it wouldn't be usable, but it'd almost be art. So
I did see on LinkedIn the other day, it looked like somebody was doing that with like a projection deposit type of interface, where I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but basically like kind of the inverse of sandblasting. Where
that's an interesting idea.
It's being deposited with a high amount of energy and maybe lasers at the same time. So if you can do that, maybe you can do that in space. I don't know.
I guess, with regards to relativity, though, they were so far in, and I know you called it a gimmick, and it a little bit is, but like they were doing some pretty cool stuff. They'd figured out some algorithms. I wonder if in the long term they would have been better served by figuring out 3D printing in space, because if no one else has figured that out, then everyone, and I mean everyone, is going to have to go to them. Now imagine if they could figure out how to put a little 3D printer on some of these AI data centers so that it could print and repair its own parts, to your point, Dad, of like how you repair things in space. Oh my gosh. 3D printing. Someone mentioned in the chat room, Blue Origin's working on a... so Neil, there you go. Thank you. Stan J7223 says, Blue Origin has been playing with regolith printer. I haven't heard if it works. Like, come on now. Wouldn't that, like, we need these things. We're missing all of this stuff. Everyone's building launchers. We don't need more launchers. We have so many launchers. We need everything after the launcher, right?
Yeah.
There were actually some really cool ideas that I was seeing about processing regolith, and that there was a method in there to basically start smelting and manufacturing a new type of metal that would be a bit stronger than titanium. And only able to be manufactured on the moon, just processing the lunar regolith, like doing it through the filter, getting out anything that that people are already looking for, like water particulates or helium-3, and then with your leftover regolith material after that process, then doing the smelting and melting, and basically, saying that, hey, we have a new metal that would be extremely useful and extremely light too. I don't remember exactly what the name of it was. I'll try to find that paper again and share it in our Discord. But yes, it's definitely a thing.
No, I mean, that was basically all I had on relativity. There was a Firefly update as well. I'll just touch on this really quickly because I don't know that it's mostly just news, but they got a $190 million contract for HASTE missions, which stands for Hypersonic Accelerator Suborbital Test Electron, which basically...
For Rocket Lab, not Firefly, for Rocket Lab.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Firefly? I meant Rocket Lab. You're totally right. Yeah. Firefly does not make the Electron rocket. Yeah, it's all these small launchers. I get it. They're all merging.
This is why Jamie doesn't want any more rockets, because you can't remember them all.
There are so many rockets. These are just the ones we know of, right? Like I listed 7 heavy lifters. Then you've got, the light lifters. You got...
all the medium ones, yeah.
Oh, God. It's so many rockets. And I don't know, man. I feel like if AI data centers work, like that's the only thing that's going to make all of this actually make sense.
You remember when we were wondering if SpaceX would launch more than ULA one year?
Good times. Good times.
Good times.
Oh, man. How the world has changed over the last... 18 years that we've been doing this show. It's kind of remarkable. I wonder if 18-year ago, my Minnesotan came out. 18-year ago me,
18-year ago.
Would ever fathom saying, we don't need any more rocket launchers. Stop with the rocket launchers. Let's figure everything else out, right? Like
the answer is no.
Yeah, there's 18-year ago me would be very... very surprised with current me. All right.
More boosters forever.
But yeah, Rocket Lab has $190 million, largest contract that they've ever signed. And basically, the cool thing about this is it's basically a contract, to oversimplify it, for rapid launch of a Mach 6 plus vehicle with pinpoint precision. Did I describe that correctly, guys?
Yeah, that's pretty close. Hypersonic testing.
Yeah.
Hypersonics are so hot right now.
But then it's also like moving with extreme speed from... we were talking about this, I think, in last week's show with regards to Firefly, where they needed to do like rapid response sort of stuff. So I'm complaining about all of these small launchers, but is this the use case for small launchers? Like, so we figured out the use case for heavy launchers is putting data centers in orbit, right? So, okay, cool. Now we've justified all the heavy launchers. For the small launchers, do these become rapid response vehicles? So you've got a natural disaster that occurred somewhere in the world. You need to get supplies there, and you need to do it very quickly. if we can get an Electron going within 24 hours with food and supplies and medical stuff, is this the use case for small launchers in a world where these heavy launchers can do transporter missions?
That's the only known
100%.
use case for the world's largest plane that rarely flies.
What's
The Anton?
No, that's no longer the world's largest plane.
what's the world's largest plane?
Rock?
What is it?
ROC? ROC or ROQ?
Yeah. They're using it to launch hypersonic testing.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, is this the use case? Is this, and then I mean, there's a clear military use case, but are there non-military use cases here?
Oh, you mean okay, ROC, that's the scaled composite strato launch airplane. Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. As far as your question, Jamie, goes for use case for small launchers, I think the answer is yes. Rocket Lab themselves are already trying to move on from the small launchers. They have their medium launcher that can be upgraded to be a heavy launcher someday. In the case of their next rocket, the Neutron, excuse me. And even with that, this contract that they have with the military and the military's customers for this hypersonic testing gives life to their little Electron rocket for years and years to come. I mean, you have in the rundown here how many there's 70 launches that are now going to be in their backlog for just this suborbital hypersonic testing. That's amazing. Maybe there's a case here where they could take over all of the suborbital testing for small launchers. You know, we still are using Nike Ajax that were developed in the 1950s for suborbital tests. You know, we have dozens of those that happen all of the time that you almost never hear about because it's some boring or routine thing, like, you know, it's the semi-annual NOAA measurement that has to be done from this particular layer of the atmosphere or something like that. So I think that this is great news for them in the fact that Electron is going to keep on going long after they themselves have already moved on from it.
Hey, did you hear they're going to fly Pegasus XL again?
Yes, I did. Isn't that amazing?
Dude, they got like
So
one
cool.
more, right? Do they have any more than this last one?
I don't know. I wonder if this is going to be the last one. I don't know if they have any more from that. I heard long ago that they had a large stockpile, but they were like cannibalizing. Like, okay, so upper stages of the Pegasus is already cannibalized from the Minuteman missiles, and I guess they're re-cannibalizing them into future Minotaur launches or something like that. So I don't know if this is going to be the last one or not, but it's certainly a rare launch of the Pegasus.
I mean, even before this launch was made public for Pegasus XL, I don't think there was any publicly known launches in the future. So technically it didn't have any future launches before it got this launch. So what's to say that after this launch, there's going to be more launches in the future? Just because we don't know about them doesn't mean they're not going to happen. And, you know,
Good point.
I'm not going to complain about more Pegasus launches. And Northrop Grumman also has more non-launcher customers for the aircraft which carries Pegasus, if that makes sense. So the infrastructure for Pegasus is going to keep flying no matter what.
Yeah. It's crazy to me how much of an inventory and catalog that Northrop Grumman Innovation Systems has, and they're barely utilizing any of it. They could be doing crazy things right now if they truly wanted to.
They have the last flying L-1011 to launch Pegasus.
They also have all the alien technology that they've got stored in a back.
The Last Stargazer. Damn, if that isn't a good movie title.
Ooh, that is a good movie title. All right, I think we should. I just started the poll. All right, well, I was going to show the image of it.
Should we start a poll?
Yeah, we're going to start
a poll.
We're going to start the poll because
the poll's starting anyway.
So whatever. Ryan, take it away.
Okay, I asked you this question last time around, so I'm going to reuse questions because I'm very creative and imaginative. According to the NASA blog, what was the official arrival time of SLS at LC-39B for the latest rollout? There are 4 times. They're all in Eastern Daylight Time. I've covered all of the bases. There's nothing you can complain about. They're all the actual time.
Ah, jeez.
Man, I have no idea. You know, I'm going to pick 9:21 Eastern time because no one in the chat is picking it. I have no idea, so I'm literally picking it because no one else has picked it.
Yeah, no idea.
And they're cheating, so the answer is probably 11:21. I keep saying they're cheating, but they're getting a lot of stuff wrong. I'm going to have to stop saying that. Or the chat room is messing with me and purposely getting things wrong so that I can no longer say that they're cheating.
I mean, it's pretty close between B and C here. So what you went with A, Jamie?
I went with
right?
A, yep.
Okay, Data, which one are you going with?
I don't have a earthly clue.
You got to pick
I'll go
one.
with 12. I'll go with 12:21 because 1 + 2 is 3, and 3, 2, 1 would be funny.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, what one are you going with?
I have no idea. I only pay attention to the times when it's the launch time. So I don't know. I'm going to go with 10:21. That just feels right, I guess.
So
None of these are
okay.
in UTC.
Well, hang on, and
That's all right.
here's
This is the
fun
local
thing.
time in Florida.
Every single option has been picked. So
Yeah,
someone's
One
right.
person.
Someone has to be right,
yeah, one person has got it right.
and it is
Who do you think has got it right?
not me. The chat room.
It is
Oh my god.
the chat room. Chat room,
Okay,
of course,
there you
have got
go.
it
Oh my
right.
god, just dragging that thing out. Congratulations, chat room. I thought you were cheating.
well
and
done.
I'm
you
surprised.
were.
I'm surprised you didn't say after this commercial break.
Oh my god. Yeah, you stretched that out, Ryan. Well done. Well done. All right. This was a action-packed episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're still playing with the format a little bit, and I want to thank all of the members of Tomorrow who helped to make this episode happen. These are people who contribute week after week, month after month, year after year. Again, this is Orbit 18. We've been doing this for 18 years now, and I hope you all had fun during this live episode. We're going to be heading into After Dark here shortly, and during After Dark, we're going to be, Dada and I think Highlander rules, right? So we'll have to battle to the death. That's how that works. Hang on, hit all these buttons. That's the show. I really want to thank everyone so much for watching this week. We'll work on, I'll tell you about that in After Dark. We'll work on, we got some cool stuff in the mix. Oh, there is the leaderboard really quickly. You want to dump that up? Yeah, so I think this is correct. Chat's got 10.
No.
All right, well,
No.
we'll get that updated for next week's show. On that note, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.